We are live on YouTube.
Oh, you figured out how to do that now, huh? Look at us. Look at us go.
Yeah, I just don't want to have to see myself. We are live. Or hear myself for that matter.
Oh, you figured out how to do that now, huh? Look at us. Look at us go.
As long as I don't have to see myself, I'm okay. Like it pops up on the screen like right there, and I'm seeing us in like 30 seconds ago. Having the same conversation. Yeah, I screwed up and did not like tell everybody about today. So
No, that's my bad. So last night I got on here and I'm trying to figure out how to send that HELOC email for the application. I'm just still lost at that. Figure that out after this.
hi, Yvette.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
How you guys
Good morning.
doing? How you doing?
Oh, hanging in there. How about yourself?
Same.
About the same.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Eddie and I are falling apart.
No, we can't have you two fall apart. We need you guys. You're the glue.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out soon enough.
How's your
You have a
weekend?
good weekend?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I got back from Hawaii. So,
Oh,
yeah.
heck yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about it.
So, I know, right? The weather totally different than here.
That's awesome.
It was nice. Yeah, I have a friend who, when he got out the Navy back 16 years ago, that's where he went to. He said, "You know what? I was stationed here before. I love it. This is where I want to retire." So he'd been there for 16 years and invited me every year to come out. And finally, I said, "You know what? I am burnt out. Let me take you up on that offer." So
Yeah,
all I needed was a plane ticket there. And that was it.
awesome.
Oh,
If he wants any new friends, let me know.
I know, right? He's all out there by himself with his house. His grown sons, they're back here in the mainland with their mother. So it's just him in that house and him and his dog. So I was like, I'm a dog lover. That's fine.
That's
that's
cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah. Well, it was great.
Waiting for a friend to call me up and say, "Hey, I got a place in Hawaii. Holler at me."
I know, right? I know. So for 16 years, I've been like, no, that's okay. Then fine. I said, you know what? Let me go to Southwest Airlines now that they go to the Hawaiian Islands. Let me see what kind of what they call it, getaway fare or whatever they call it. Want to get away?
Some of these trips to Hawaii right now are super cheap.
Oh yeah. I went it was round trip 357.
Oh, that's sick.
Wow.
I know, right? And I was able to get 2 non-stops both ways. So I didn't have to do a change in plays in Vegas or any of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was nice.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was just talking to Jenny what we were going to do over the wintertime. Like we try to plan like one small or large trip, like a quarter, just to go do something, and
right.
get out of the house and go change the scenery a little bit. And we love going to Big Bear every year. So
you know what? I have not been, and I was telling someone, I said, I have not been there since 2003. So I know it has changed. I know it's changed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I probably should go and check it out. When I went there last, this friend of mine, he found us a really cool cabin. It was like before the Airbnb kind of thing. This really cool cabin that was really nice up there. I wish I could remember, who I need to contact, but it was really nice. It had a fireplace and
Nice.
it had a jacuzzi in the master bedroom, not the bathroom, but the master bedroom. There was a jacuzzi.
That's fantastic. Yeah. It's we've been going up there pretty much every year, at least once in the wintertime, and it's nice to get a change of pace because we were both from cold areas, like she grew up in Wisconsin, I grew up in Massachusetts, so it's just Kind of feels like home going up there.
Oh yeah, yeah. It reminded me of home quickly. Maybe that's why I haven't been up there since, because I'm from Michigan. So, so I was like, okay, I remember this.
So we kind of a quiet day today. Do you guys, hey Sean, how's it going? Do you guys have any kind of questions that you'd like us to tackle? Like kind of things that might be coming across that you'd like for us to discuss? Like we didn't really have anything planned for today. We just kind of wanted to leave it as an open forum. And see if we can go over something that could help you out. Sean, are you able to chat or are you at work?
Hey, yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm just checking this out. I've just never been to the Mortgage Monday.
Yeah, man. Usually
Usually
we've got some topics to cover. Sometimes we just leave it for open discussions. So we just figured we'd see who's on today and see what kind of questions you guys have, things that you might be bumping into. Are you a newer agent?
Yeah, I just joined still under a month, so I'm trying to figure everything out, see what
Yeah, no, super
going
important. Have you been going out there and kind of doing any kind of real estate related work yet? Like doing open houses, doing networking events, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I just went to my first open house a couple days ago. Just shadowing, and then yeah, I'm under Carl with for the mentorship. So yeah, it's been exciting trying to figure out like my schedule and everything, trying to go like all in.
Sure. Who did you said you shadowed somebody? Who'd you shadow?
Matt Thornburg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Learned a lot. So
have you guys, was it busy?
Yeah, it was pretty consistent. Some points it was like while he was talking, I had to go in, like check some other people in. Yeah, it's like when someone would leave, yeah, it wouldn't be too much longer before someone else walked right in.
That's good.
Yeah.
And so were you guys able to get people to sign in, give you information? Have you done any follow-up on it yet?
I'm sure he did. It was mostly because I was shadowing, not I'm under referral status, so
okay.
Yeah, currently if I got any leads, it would be to like refer to another agent.
Okay.
But yeah, I've I think 2 more shadows, and then I could start doing open houses myself, which I'm looking forward to.
So why referral status? What's the difference?
It's just because I'm not under an association yet. For like plan on doing SBAR.
I got you.
So I think legally I'd have to have an association in order to work. So it's mostly just saving money right now, so I could afford some of that, save up for signs and everything.
So when you guys are out there and you're speaking to clients, was Matt doing a good job at asking if people were pre-approved or not?
I heard him mention pre-approval like once or twice. And then it looked like he got an appointment, so that was kind of cool seeing like the transition, like from when they come in to trying to get like a coffee meeting or something like that. And also just seeing how some are like more receptive, and then kind of like seeing the body language of like if they're just trying to look around, find something to do, or if they're actually like searching, trying to find a place. So
it comes out pretty quickly too when you're standing there right in front of somebody.
Yeah, it's
you can tell pretty quickly if they're serious or not.
Yeah.
And whether or not they like the house for that matter, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's I mean, open houses, I mean, I'm sure Matt would agree with me too. Probably your best bet right now when you're first starting out to meet any kind of potential clients. You're constantly going to have people walking in there. You're constantly going to be having conversations with potential buyers. Neighbors might be walking in there who might be thinking about transacting themselves and they want to see how you're presenting yourself and how you're working as well, right? And what you're doing to like to generate, you know, the foot traffic into the place. So having those
Yeah.
conversations with the neighbors is really, really important, even though you might think that they're just there to look at their neighbor's house. A lot of them are actually out interviewing.
Yeah. If
you
they're
know,
trying to, like, if this house is selling for this much, then like maybe it's an opportunity for them. Like, hey, maybe I could make some profit while I still have like my property, and
Yeah.
they're planning on moving or something. Yeah, we had
absolutely.
one neighbor come in, their family, and they were renting, so they were seemed like they were looking to like buy. So it just yeah, I guess some like credit thing. So Matt referred them to like a lender to like fix some information, or like so they could get some more financial in check.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the most important first step that anybody could take, right? It's like you're not going to go out shopping without your wallet. I mean, you
Yeah.
need to bring your wallet, right? And so, I mean, we are the wallet. If you don't know like what you are going to be paying for a house, what you need to come up with to, you know, even close on that transaction, and you don't have somebody like walking you through step by step, and really taking you from beginning to end and explaining you the process and helping you really get a firm grasp on those numbers. Because right now there's just such a disconnect between how much does that house cost and how much is it going to run me on a monthly basis, right? That's been freaking people out a lot. And
Especially with the interest.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
say that again, sorry.
Oh yeah, especially with the interest right now, it's like an extra, almost $1,000 extra on their payments, I feel.
It's significantly more depending on that price point, right?
Yeah.
And so it's super important to have, especially if you have somebody that's like, oh yeah, I'm pre-approved. Your next question should be, oh great, that's perfect that you're actually, you know, serious about this. Who did you get approved with, right? And if they're telling you that they're with a big bank or a credit union or some online like Rocket, whatever, right? Just know that there's nobody there, there's no loan officer there that's going to be supporting them and making sure that they're crystal clear on all their information that they need, right?
Yeah. So is it good to recommend like a lender, like if they have a pre-approval from like a bigger bank, just like for something more personal? Or
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, right? Every single bank is going to have different products, different interest rates, and different levels of service, right?
yeah.
So you can walk into a big bank, you can sit down with your banker, like I bank at Bank of America. I can go in there, I can sit down with them, I can tell them how much money I make, and they'll give me a pre-approval right on the spot, like a pre-qualification letter right on the spot, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what does that pre-qualification letter do? It doesn't do squat because no one's actually reviewed the 3 C's, right? The 3 C's are what get you approved at the end of the day for a home loan, right? An underwriter, the person that works for the bank, right? They're going to review your credit, your collateral, and your capacity to pay back that loan.
Okay.
All right. So when you walk into a big bank or you walk into a credit union or you're doing it online, no one reviews this information except for the loan officer. Well, guess what? I'm a salesperson. Of course, I want to get you pre-approved. Of course, I want to get you pre-qualified.
Yeah.
I don't have anybody reviewing that information for me. I don't have anyone double checking my work. I can make a legitimate mistake, right?
Yeah.
And I can miss something, right? That's what an underwriter's for. That's what their job is. They are
Yeah.
the ones that approve those loans. They're the ones that say, yes, we'll lend you money based off of these conditions, right? And it's our job to go back and get those conditions to make sure that they satisfy it in advance. So what we do totally different is, you know, we actually underwrite every single application up front. So that way we get those conditions before they ever go shopping, right? And we know that, hey, this, and this needs to happen before we can close this loan. Oh, well, this looks like a red flag to me. We need to make sure that we address this before you go shopping.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right.
Is there a difference between pre-approval and pre-qualified?
Yeah, pre-approval is just like I said. So there's kind of three stages to it. Pre-qualification, I have a conversation with someone. They tell me how much money they make. They tell me how much debts they have. I can pencil it on paper, figure out their debt to income, and I can say, sure, you're pre-qualified. Here you go. That's
Okay.
pre-qualified. Pre-approved, you actually submit paperwork, right?
I see.
So you may submit your W-2s, your pay stubs, your bank statements, what have you. But that paperwork stops at the loan officer, right? So I'm the one reviewing that documentation and it doesn't go anywhere from there. So I can say you're pre-approved. However, the actual person that makes a decision whether or not to lend you money never approved it. So there's an underwritten pre-approval, right? That's holds a much more weight than just a regular pre-approval from a loan officer, right?
That makes sense.
And
Yeah.
and you got to be conscious and you got to be knowledgeable at the fact that we have automated underwriting systems.
Yeah.
So you always want to follow up with, hey, has this been underwritten? Great. Has it been underwritten by a human being? What do you mean? Well, there's automated underwriting systems that we put all of your information through that spit out an answer whether or not you're approved or you're ineligible for a loan. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You want a person to do the underwriting.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I can put in whatever kind of numbers I want into that system and get an approval. So it's shit in, shit out. Oops, I shouldn't be saying that. I'm black. But so if you're putting in horrible information or you're manipulating information, I can make that approval happen, right? The name of the game is to get it right, to get it accurate, and to be able to know how to calculate income, to be able to know how to look for those red flags in advance. That's the most important part. And so that's kind of really what differentiates the way that we conduct our business and the way that a lot of these big banks and online lenders do theirs. They just let it fly. They just
Go through the computer.
because it costs money to have an underwriter review loans that don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And also 0 times out of a million has anybody written on an application what they actually make on a monthly basis as far as their income concerned.
Yeah,
is
nobody
concerned.
gets it right.
Nobody gets it right. So if it's wrong on the application, like Ed said, it's going to be wrong when you get your pre-qualification letter, which is going to be wrong when you're going out shopping. And you're not going to know it's wrong until you're right in the middle of escrow and everything blows up in your face.
Yeah, and the next thing you know, you get a phone call or an email that says, oh, hey, by the way, sorry, like this doesn't fly. I'm looking at, I've got a great flyer here somewhere with all the different types of income. I'll find it and I'll send it to you guys. All the different types of income sources there are for each different type of job. And you would be super surprised to see like every type of job. So bonus income is different than overtime, is different than commission, is different than self-employed, is different than like, someone's on a maternity leave, someone gets disability, someone has an annual salary. Like every single line item is handled a little bit differently. And if you don't know how to calculate that, if you don't know how to figure out which is which one to use, and you're going to be up the creek when you go to calculate their debt to income levels, because that's what's going to get you approved. So those 3 C's, let's just touch on those real quick, right? Your credit, super easy. I run your credit. You fill out an application, a couple of buttons, we run your credit. That credit score, I don't know if you were in the credit class we just had this past Wednesday, but that credit score really drives the level of risk that's involved in lending you money, right? That credit score really determines what the likelihood is of a certain individual paying back that loan, right? That's why banks look at these credit scores and they're constantly changing the algorithms as to how to best tabulate those numbers, right? So we get your credit, but when we run your credit, not only do we get your credit score, but we get all your debts, all right? And so what's a mortgage but a really complicated math formula at the end of the day, right? So we get all of your debts and we see not only how much you owe as a total, but how much your monthly payments are. And that there is much more important than your total for us, because we need to see whether or not on a monthly basis that you can actually afford to pay back that loan that we're giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So we need to calculate your debt to income. That is what drives your purchasing power, your debt to income levels, right? So for most loans, you're looking at about a 50% for conventional loans, about a 50% debt to income level, all right? For FHA loans, you can go all the way up to 55%. I just got one approved at like 54.9 something. So up to 55%. With VA loans, you can go up to 65%. Now, here's the thing. You're spending 65% of your gross income on your house. You're going to be eating ramen noodles.
Yeah, that's going to be rough for sure.
It's going to be really rough. Unless you have other income from that we're not calculating into the equation, right? So you've got a side gig, you have a partner that is going to be paying half of the mortgage or what have you, that's not involved in the actual transaction of purchasing. That 65% is going to be really tight to live on. So because I give a flying hoot, I have like heart-to-heart conversations when I see people doing that, and just make sure that they understand that they're only going to have like X amount of dollars left at the end of the month to live on. And it's really important for them to really grasp that in going into a transaction like this. So again, you're not going to have somebody from Bank of America giving a flying hoot as to what the level of debt is, for somebody going to purchase a home, because they got somebody waiting in line to take out another application. Like, you're just another number to them. They get paid $500 for you filling out that application. Their livelihood is not dependent on providing you the best service out there, right? So it's be mindful when you're getting those, and always ask if someone wants a second opinion, because it can't ever hurt. It's not going to affect their credit scores at all. It's just going to take a little bit of time to get, but at least they might get a different level of service that might help them really either move forward or just, hey, get a better understanding of where they stand, right? So we ran the credit. The next thing we need to do is we need to review their collateral. Hey, where's the money coming from for the down payment and the closing costs? Just had a client. I said, hey, you gave us a bank statement. It's got like $1,300 in it. Where's the down payment proceeds coming from? Like, I don't see where the money is. Oh, well, how much money do we need? Well, we need at least 3.5% down payment. Oh, I can deposit that. Say what? Well, you can't. You can't just deposit cash into a bank account and then expect us to use it.
Do they have like something they could sell, or like?
So they're getting a gift from a family member. That's the only way that that they can actually make that transaction work, is getting a gift, because you can't use money underneath the mattress to purchase a home. Part of our job is to work for the government and enforce the Patriot Act and make sure there's no money laundering involved. And so a house being the biggest purchase you'll ever have, it just opens up Pandora's box for people trying to siphon money in and out of the system. Because they'll go and buy a big piece of property like that, and then they'll do a cash out refi. Next thing you know, they have clean cash. So
for collateral, is it mostly just like other properties that they have? Is there like generally else they use?
Yeah, so collateral, there's two aspects of collateral, right? Collateral being the down payment. Where's the cash coming from, right? Is it sitting in investments? Is it in mutual funds? Is it in stocks? Is it in cash sitting in a CD? Is it a 401k that you're going to take out the loan? Are your parents going to give you some sort of gift? Is it just money that you've been saving over a period of time? So that's one aspect of collateral up front, where we need to know where the money is coming from. The other aspect of collateral is when you're actually in escrow, we need to review the property that we're securitizing that mortgage against, right? And so that's why it takes a little while for a bank and escrow and all parties involved to do their due diligence on that property. So you have your inspections, right? You've got your appraisals. We need to know that we're not lending you $500,000. We're not lending you $500,000 on a $300,000 property, right? How you know? So we need to get that appraisal done. We need to get the title paperwork done. We need to make sure, like we're doing a transaction right now in Massachusetts where he's purchasing the property, but there's a separate APN, there's a separate parcel for the road that leads to the property that he's not going to own when he closes on this property. And it's sitting in probate because the person that owned that house died. And it's just become a cluster. Like we started this thing in July. Right? And we come to find out that how do you not own the land where the driveway is? Like who broke that up to begin with, right?
Yeah.
But that's what banks come across. That's what, title companies come across during the course of escrow when they're doing their research, when they're doing their due diligence to make sure that the collateral is free and clear of any kind of liens. Nobody can show up and be like, oh yeah, Auntie Susie promised to, give me this property when she died, and then all of a sudden you're in court and probate about this property. So there's a lot of due diligence that goes in on the back end of that, and things pop up. You just never know. Things come up, right? So those are the two aspects of collateral. The third C, right? So you got credit, collateral, and capacity to pay back the loan. And I kind of alluded to the capacity, right? Your capacity is your debt to income levels. Right?
Yeah.
That you might afford that house on a month-to-month basis. Okay. And so that's what pulling in your debts. That's why it's so important that we get all that up front, right? And then we run your credit. Did you have banks like Navy Fed? They don't even run credit before they give you an approval letter. Like they just let you go out into the wild. It's insane. Like I don't understand how banks can even get away with doing something like that, but they do.
Yeah. People think they're getting helped out when they can't afford it, then just screwing themselves over.
Well, not only that, but then, I have this pre-approval letter from this reputable, right, institution. I go out there, you and I are driving around for how many weekends looking for houses. We finally find some houses. We put some offers in. It takes time to do all this stuff. Hours to do all this stuff. And then you go put in an offer, you get it accepted after negotiating back and forth for days, right? You get it approved. Everyone's so psyched. Then all of a sudden you give that purchase agreement to the lender, say, hey, guess what? We're in escrow. They click on the credit. Oh, sorry, you're a 578. You don't qualify.
So it's just all pointless.
All that. What a waste of time. Like, what do you mean you didn't run my credit? Like we had this happen. We've saved numerous clients from this happening to them, and it's horrible. And sometimes we can't save them. Sometimes it just is what it is, and say, hey, sorry, like your income is not enough to float this entire property, or we can shift them to another product, what have you. Sometimes we can't. But we'll review it. We'll do our due diligence. And the great part about why I love Movement so much is because we do all this legwork up front. You never have to worry about like your loans falling through. Like you're not going to have something popping up in the middle of your process and being like, oh, whoopsie, we didn't notice that. Well, hey, guess what? That's on me. I've never I've been doing this, 9 years now? 9.5 years, never once has that happened to me, knock on wood. Just because I'm a little bit more anal about that kind of stuff. I take this a little bit more to heart, and like I don't want somebody going through that turmoil in the middle of escrow and being like, yeah, sorry, you don't qualify. That's horrible. I'd be devastated if I was like so happy to purchase a home and so come to find out that nobody ever ran my credit. Like,
so if that did happen, would like a higher down payment generally be able to compensate for like the lower credit?
Sometimes, yes, absolutely. That's definitely an option, a higher down payment. We've looked at being able to separate the two of them, and by taking the second person off of that loan with the poor credit, it actually helps on the debt to income level a little bit.
Yeah.
where most of the debts may have been sitting on that person's credit report, and they were actually hurting the situation. So we kind of review everything up front. So if we have multiple parties that are trying to purchase a house together, 3, 4 people in a family, sometimes it makes sense to take people off and add other people in order to be able to make that happen. So we've been able to remove people from situations and add different people to the transaction and save the deal in the middle of escrow. But yeah, I mean, adding more money down, it's just,
Right.
it depends on the loan, man, and depends on how much they're
Yeah,
already pushing
circumstance.
themselves, right? You might have to
Yeah.
come up with a lot of money to kind of make that work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were able to add an 18-year-old son who had no credit score to save his mother's loan one time
Mhm.
when she was being told, yeah, no problem. You could do it. No worries. Get it done.
Yep. It fell out of escrow, and he was receiving trust income from his grandmother's trust. And
Oh, okay.
we were able to add him as a buyer and incorporate the trust income, and they were able to
To get it through.
qualify for the home, yeah, after they've been declined in the middle of escrow. So it's kind of funky nuances. It's being able to, asking the right questions is half the battle. You don't know what to ask if you're not really digging deep.
Yeah, that purchase was a 1031 exchange, so there was a time limit on it too.
Oh, okay. It was an investment or just a
It was, we switched it out of an investment to an owner occupied because they were going to live there.
Yeah.
So they took a little bit of a hit on their taxes, but at least they were able to purchase the place in Coronado for like 600 grand. Like,
What?
yeah,
That's
they're not buying that anymore. That was years ago. Yeah, it was you're not finding anything in Coronado for that dollar amount. Looking at, what's up? You can jump in anytime.
Hi, Ed. I have a quick question. Do you guys know anything about Quicker loans and if how good they might be? I have a family that's working with them,
Mhm.
but the mortgage broker seems like super pushy and like really salesy, and I'm I'm trying to get them to see if they can get like cross qualified by you guys, but they're like, he keeps telling them that like they're the best they're gonna get, and he showed up to my open house. That's how he met them, because he showed up to my open house randomly while I was talking to this family. And he convinced them to work with him because I had you guys on my open house flyers.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I know Movement Mortgage. And they're super expensive, and we're the best deal you're gonna get. And he basically convinced them to start working with him, but I don't know anything about them. So I told the family, I'm like, I would, I could give you guys a second opinion, if
Yeah.
because I don't really know anything about that company.
Yeah, I mean, look, Quicken owns Rocket Mortgage, right? And they're the number 2 lending institution in the country. They're huge, right? The problem is that they're online, okay, and you don't have the same level of service that you're gonna have with us. We're gonna probably be a little bit more expensive than Quicken Loans, but we're a lot more creative. We're a lot more available when it comes to loans, especially. We have loan products that they do not have because they kind of stick with the traditional types of loans. So we can kind of think outside the box when it comes to doing loans. They can't. They're going to stick with conventional.
Right. And it sounds like you might have been working with an actual broker who goes to Quicken to do the loans because Quicken's going to pay him the most amount of money. And that's what it sounds like you got as a broker, and not somebody who is actually a Quicken employee.
Yeah, because
but somebody.
Quicken, I don't think Quicken has anybody here. Quicken is actually a call center.
Yeah, there's no loan officers there.
There's no loan officers per se. They do have loan officers, but they're a call center. So like people will call in online and they're going to be routed to somebody somewhere. Mortgage brokers, though, they will broker through different channels and they'll find different banks that are going to pay them the most amount of money. based off of whatever kind of loan that they're placing. So it depends on who you bumped into. I really doubt that you, now that Matt brings that up, it's a great point. I really
Yeah,
doubt. that you
Quicken's not going to send their people out into the field.
Yeah, Quicken's not going to have a representative out door knocking, basically, open houses.
Okay, on the so on the email that he had sent me, it says, so his name is Edgar Garcia and it says mortgage broker.
Yeah, he's a
Okay.
broker.
Yeah, he's a broker.
Okay.
So not only is he taking their loan to get paid on the back end for himself, but he has no control over the process. He's just a third party. He's taking a loan, giving it to somebody and saying, I hope it closes.
Okay, got it. Yeah, because the family was concerned with you know, like getting a good service, a good rate and all of that. And he was like, oh, you guys can buy a house with just 3% down and all you need is I forget what he like mentioned three things to them, but he like hasn't even checked their credit either. So that's why I'm kind of concerned because he sent me a pre-approval letter for them, but I'm concerned because he hasn't checked the credit either. So I'm like, you know, are they really going to get approved once and not forget to accept it?
So mind you, I just looked him up. He's a realtor.
Oh, really?
There are some real estate agents that if they own their own brokerage, they do both. So be careful. There's a lot of squirreliness going on right now in our industry, especially with like loan officers and agents, because there's not a lot of transactions. People are getting pretty desperate and they're doing really shady things. So this guy could have easily been going out to different open houses and like looking for buyers and saying that he's a mortgage rep, because he might own his own mortgage brokerage, but there's also an Edgar Garcia that is a real estate agent. So just be mindful who you're letting in and who you're letting speak to your potential clients. You didn't need to let him into your house. You could have asked him to leave.
Okay. Yeah. And then like I said, since he's been like super pushy, like he kept calling me yesterday and asking me if they had decided on a house. And yesterday was the first time that I had actually shown them houses. And he was like, did you guys already select the house? Like, we need to make sure that we put in an offer today, if not tomorrow. And that's why it started kind of like concerning me, because I'm like, how legit is this guy?
Yeah, I mean, look, we would never do that. That's just not cool. That's just not the way to conduct business.
Well, and if he's so quick to throw us under the bus, how quick is he going to be to throw you under the bus when he's talking to your potential
Yeah,
clients?
and I think the family also started noticing how pushy he was being, because it's the first time buying a house. So then yesterday when I was showing them houses, the wife was saying, well, now that Edgar's not here, can I ask you something? Like, have you really worked with him? I'm like, no. And I have other people that can always like make
So
sure that
this
you
dude
get
just
really.
showed up to your open
He
house and
just
you're like,
showed up to my open house and started talking to him. He like took over as soon as he showed up. And it was like right before I was about to leave. And then this family showed up last minute and he showed up at the same time. And he just took over and basically like got all their information and yeah, and started calling me like right after he left about like that he was already gonna get all their like W-2s and stuff like that.
yeah, I would give him a call and be like, hey, I kind of had this bad vibe from this dude. Like, can I introduce you to someone that I know and trust?
Yeah.
So at least get a second opinion from them and see what they have to offer, because this isn't normal like course of business that
Mhm.
realtors and loan officers go through, right? We don't just like pop into someone's open house and try to steal clients. Like that's not
Yeah.
whoa.
Well, and I think they started to feel uncomfortable because yesterday he started calling them nonstop and text messaging them, asking them if they already selected a house because they needed to submit an offer like ASAP.
Yeah.
So that's when she started wondering,
It
you know,
happens sometimes, man, when people come from scarcity, they act differently, right? Than when they come from
Mhm.
abundance. Like I would never
Yeah.
in a
So I
million
did
years.
tell them, I'm like, I told this the son to ask for like a loan estimate to see if you guys can review it.
Mhm.
But he messaged me back last night saying that he couldn't provide that because he would have to run their credit. Um, and that's why he couldn't provide that. So I didn't really have anything to,
So how
show
exactly
you
does someone
guys.
get pre-approved without running credit?
Yeah, and that's what I'm also scared of because I'm like, okay, well, if I start submitting offers and
Do
the
not,
credit, I
don't,
don't
please
know.
don't.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna end up getting the loan approved because they
Well, not
haven't
only the
even
loan
checked the credit.
approved, but then that credit score is going to determine their interest rate. Now imagine if you have someone with lower, right, credit and all of a sudden their interest rates to the roof and they're
Mm-hmm.
and they're not putting a lot down, they're first time home buyers, and now their mortgage insurance is exponentially higher. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just cut the cord right there and just be like, hey, please don't
Yeah.
show up to my open houses anymore and please stop contacting these people. Like
Yeah.
that's not the right course of action, and you don't want to be associated to that either. You know what I mean?
No, he just like randomly showed up. He called
I
me
know.
because he couldn't find the house I was doing the open house at, and I thought it was somebody that was interested in, just
Sure,
viewing the property.
of course.
So I gave him the address, and then when I told him to sign in, he's like, "Oh no, actually, like I'm a mortgage broker." And then he started telling me how like Movement Mortgage is so expensive and like all these other companies are so expensive. And he even said he knew Amanda too. And he's like, "Yeah, she's so expensive." And then he just like took over after that. And
Yeah, I'm
like,
sorry we
yeah.
weren't there with you. I would have kicked his
Yeah,
ass out of the house.
no, that's fine. But now I know that, I've never had that happen before.
Yeah.
But
Well, now you know. I mean, you can easily just say, hey, if you're not here to view the home, I'm gonna politely ask you to leave.
okay. Yeah. Well, I'll try to talk to the son again and see if I could convince him to get cross qualified with somebody else.
It's not cross qualified. They're just getting a second opinion. Cross
Or a second
qualified is
opinion.
when like you have a listing, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're insisting that anybody that applies for like
Oh,
produces
yeah.
an offer gets
Uh-huh.
qualified with your lender. That's cross
Got
qualified,
it.
right?
Okay.
So this is just we'll be getting them second
Like
opinion, but
second
hey, we're gonna
opinion.
go through the process. We're gonna go through the steps with them
Mm-hmm.
and make sure like everything is kosher and that they're comfortable with their payment. Like that's so important. And
Yeah.
we're not gonna like
Yeah.
blow
And I
these
think,
people
and
up.
then
You know how
that's
we
why,
roll. I mean,
yeah. And then that's why I didn't feel comfortable working with him after he called me, the mortgage broker called me last night because he said, they're pre-approved for 650, but you need to get them like $25,000 in credits. So I'm like, so they're not really pre-approved for 550, and like what makes him think that I could easily get $25,000 off in credits?
yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
With all the homes
So
flooding the market,
that's
let me see
when
what
I
I can
started
do.
thinking everything was like super sketchy and I didn't feel comfortable like working with him.
Yeah, lesson learned.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it was a relatively inexpensive lesson, which is good. And
Hmm.
there's still, a way to salvage that opportunity that you have to work with these
Hmm.
clients that are serious buyers out there looking on a Sunday,
Yeah.
you know, willing to get pre-approved. And
Hmm.
I would make the call. I'd hit them up later on this afternoon and be like, hey, you guys, listen, I've, just been thinking about it. And it's just a really strange situation yesterday. Like this person
Hmm.
just showed up to my open house and like, I don't
Hmm.
know them from a hole in the wall. I don't want you guys like going down that route because we don't know what kind of level of service he's going to provide. Can I please ask you to, have a conversation with somebody
Hmm.
that I work with and I know and I trust and at least see what they have to offer, because it just makes a world of difference of who you're working with and the team
Yeah.
representing you,
Yeah. And then I don't want them to have a bad experience with them. And then also I feel like that's also gonna be I'm gonna look bad.
It's going to reflect on you.
Yeah. So that's why I'm starting, I don't feel comfortable working with him, and I mean, I don't even know him.
No, that's crazy, man. I've gone to open houses before, but like ones that I was
Yeah.
invited to, I
Yeah.
don't keep rolling around open houses.
Yeah, and he like I said, I have you on my open house flyers. So
Yeah.
that's when he was like, I know Movement Mortgage and they're super expensive. So then that's when he started talking bad about Movement Mortgage. And then I'm like, okay, like, I mean,
That's okay.
what, you know,
Talk
what
all
could
the stuff
I,
he wants. I'll compare my numbers to his all day long.
yeah. So, okay, I'll call them and see if I can get them to get a second opinion with you
Yeah,
guys.
we'll chat with them later on today. No problem.
Okay.
But these
sounds
poor
good.
people have probably been bombarded in the past 24 to 48 hours. So I would just wait until this afternoon.
Yeah.
and
Okay.
See what
Sounds good.
happens.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks for bringing that up. I mean, it's such a valuable lesson for everybody that's on here, that
Mhm.
kind of stuff happens, and it is okay to ask somebody to leave. Like, don't be frightened to say that. Like, hey, if you're not here to see the house, like, there's no solicitation here. Do you mind please
Okay.
leaving now? Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
there's
you.
nothing wrong with doing it. Absolutely. Yeah, sorry you went through that. So any other questions, you guys? Great topics to chat about. Credit, collateral, capacity to pay back a loan. Those are three things that we need to review to make sure that someone's approved. And if someone's not filling one of those three buckets, like what's the point in even looking at the dude's income if you don't know what the debts are? How are you going to put an interest rate on a loan, which is one of the most important, variables in that equation if you don't know exactly, what kind of credit you're working with. So just be mindful. This kind of stuff happens all the time. And that's why we're here to be your backstop. We work for you guys. So
Eddie, I like that. I'm going to use that. No solicitation.
yeah. What the heck is he doing? That's just
Yeah,
so
I mean,
shady.
he's going to steal your guys' clients too. That's just the way it's going.
Yeah, if this is the
Or
same Edwin
attempt to,
Garcia
or
that
attempt-
I'm looking up, he's both. He's both a real estate agent and a loan officer, and someone like that could easily swoop in if you don't have a BRE sign. Goodbye, client.
Yeah, well, that's what I felt when he showed up and he just took over. I almost felt like he was stealing them away from me. And, like he just controlled the whole situation there. And I kept telling them, like, when he was there, he said, I can get you guys pre-approved and I have the best rates. So then I said, and we can always compare with other lenders to make sure that you're really getting the best rate there is out there. So he's like, yeah, I'll give you guys a loan estimate and you can compare with anybody. And you'll see that I'm providing you guys with the best rate there is out there. But then when I asked the son to get that from him, he said he couldn't provide that. So
you can't provide a loan estimate until you're in escrow.
Okay.
Those are part of your initial disclosures.
Okay.
And banks have no way of generating loan estimates unless you're in escrow.
Oh,
I can give them a ballpark. Like I do the mortgage cost analysis reports, right? And I give the clients those mortgage coach reports, but that's all my estimates. Those are all figures that I'm providing them based off the conversations that we're having. So I'll show them like the maximum purchasing power, and then I'll show them like kind of where they should be shopping within that price range, right? To get that monthly payment that they're comfortable with. So it's either but you can't do a loan estimate if you're not in escrow. It's just, yeah.
How did the guy get the clients or the potential clients' information? Was he looking at the sign-in sheet?
Me right now again.
Oh, he was there talking to him. I mean, he could have. Yannette, did he just ask for their phone number and email address and get a hold of them?
Sorry, what was that?
Did Yvette was just asking, did this guy just like ask for their contact information right there on the spot, or did he like steal your sign-in sheet?
No, he started asking them for their information, like their phone number and email address, so they can get pre-approved. Like he's like, I can get you guys pre-approved today, and then tomorrow you guys can start looking at houses because I want to make sure that you guys put in offers by Monday.
Oh, that's when I would
Um,
have stepped in right there. That's what I would have
Mhm.
stepped in with a different attitude at that point. I mean,
Yeah.
you're poaching my client right in front of me by saying that. That's where I would have stepped
Mhm.
up right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then when yesterday when I was showing them houses, that's when the wife started asking me if I really worked with him because they're already getting pre-approved by him. So I said no, and I can always give them get them somebody else to give them a second opinion. And she said, okay, that makes me feel a little bit better.
And think about how dangerous that is too. They just gave all their personal information to someone they don't know off the street,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know? So just, like I said, lesson learned, there's nothing, you can't turn back the clock now, but like going forward, make sure like, yeah, you flip a switch at that point and get into protective mode and be like, all right, buddy, you gotta leave.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not the place for you to be coming in here and trying to get clients.
Mhm.
Go
Where
have your
was your
own open
where
house.
was your open house?
Went on Saturday.
No, I mean, where was it? Where was it? Like
It
what city?
was like between National City and Encanto.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh,
Cool. Some good lessons learned for all of us today, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you guys, do we have any other questions? John, Sean, Yvette, anybody? Annette?
no, not for me. Just keep chugging away at the open
Keep
houses.
chugging away. I mean, right now it's all about doing your follow up. I mean, obviously you don't want to, you have one or two clients, you don't want to bombard the bejesus out of them because you're going to piss them off, but you still want to keep that line of communication open and making sure that you're following up with people that you met, 6 months ago, a year ago. I mean, we're going through our database and cleaning people up from, what were you in 2017?
2017. And we're just calling up and wishing people happy holidays and just checking just safety calls. And we're not trying to be salesmen. If people need
Yeah.
help, cool. But not only are we, cleaning out the old database, trying to touch people who haven't been, hit up in a little bit, but you never know what's in there. You never know who's looking to transact, who wasn't ready in 2017.
Yeah, or like 6 months ago, a year ago.
Right.
I mean, look
Right.
at, if you've done open houses in the recent past, go and pull up all your old open house sign-in sheets. Give them a call. They're like, hey, how's it going? We met at an open house a while back. I just wanted to follow up with you and say hello and see how things are going. Did you ever buy a house? Were you thinking about it still? Like, where are you guys in the market? And then just jump into the scripts that we always practice about the waiting. Yeah, I think that if you wind up doing something like that, you might just find a piece of gold nugget right in the middle of those in the middle of those sign-in sheets from a long time ago. So go back. Hopefully you keep them all. Go back to old ones and just call the old ones up.
Speaking of the sign-in sheets and going back at the old ones, any did Raina ever find out go? I remember we had a hard time trying to get her pre-approved.
Yeah, I'll give you a call about that.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, that was Mateo.
All right.
We try to divide and conquer as much as possible.
Cool.
Awesome, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us.
for joining us.
Yeah, it was a
All
great
right, guys.
morning. And
We're always available. Give us a shout if you have any other questions.
yeah, next week you guys are gonna be having your bold. So we've been taking every other week off because of bold. We just kind of wanted to have more people, but I promise you we'll have more heads on here next time to have even deeper discussions, because we just we didn't send out an announcement, and I will take care of that starting next week. So you guys have an awesome week. Hit us up if you have any questions or you need anything. We're here.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Guys.
Take care.
Thank you.
I'll see you guys. Have a great